Rayz Dayz, episode 145. This is a weekly diary podcast hosted by me, Ray Taylor. But I do want to mention the thing this week that I am thankful for, because despite everything bad happening, I need to make sure I highlight something in my life that I enjoy, that I am thankful for. And this week, I am thankful for Bob's Burgers, which is a show that I've heard recommend to me a bunch of times for the longest time, and I finally put it on. I know there's a movie that recently came out past few years or whatever, and put it on, and instantly got hooked, which is great. It's my new background show. It's been on the background, probably one of the reasons why I've kind of fallen behind. I was so ahead on movie watching at the end of last year with my top 5 movies, and I've completely fallen back on that. And I think it's because I just had Bob's Burgers on constantly in the background. It makes me happy. Like when I'm editing or just at the end of the day to wind down, there's shows that I like to put on. Background shows, right? Bob's Burgers is great. My new favorite background show. But other shows like like Seinfeld is one, The Office, Parks and Rec, even ImpracticalJokers. Like, these are shows that I can put on in the background while I work, or while I'm at the end of the day, while I'm like trying to wind down and relax. I don't have to pay attention. I can get distracted on my phone. I could think of other things. I could be planning my week or what I want to do the next day. It's a show that it's not like something where I feel like I'm going to miss anything, right? But I do love watching the show. It's a hilarious show, but it's definitely my new background show. South Park is another one of those background shows that's great. Animated comedy, check. Family-run business, I love that. You don't see that there's really not any family-run businesses on TV anymore, aside from, drug-related businesses like Weeds or Breaking Bad, Great. I love, they live upstairs above their restaurant, their burger shop. I would love to live above my studio, right? I would love to. Currently my studio space where I live, right? I have my bed. I have the space where I set up to record the show. I have my art space where I create. I have my little kitchen area where I make food, right? So I have a small version of that, but I would love to live in a place like Bob's Burgers where upstairs is where I live, bedrooms like an apartment or whatever, and then downstairs is the studio space. It's where I create my things, and I love that. I love that aspect. The 3 kids are great: Jean, Linda, Louise, Kristen Shaw, great. Love her. Was it Last Man on Earth? Great show. Mostly she was amazing on that show. I love her. I think she plays Louise in the show. Jean is really great too. They have their regular that comes in, Teddy, who's a lot of fun. He's, best friends with Bob, but, Bob's, they're not, it's kind of a one-sided friendship in a lot of ways. Kind of, not really. They have their rival across the street. They have their landlord, the mortuary neighbor, like all the different characters of the show. Absolutely love it. It's a funny show, super interesting, unique characters as well. The craziness of the kids is really great too, and just how unique each one of them are. Like, they all feel very different, every single one, and each one of those is like their differences and uniqueness plays into the comedy of the episodes, as well as the mom and the dad. Like, they're all super unique characters. I love all of them, and it's a very positive show. Right? There's not a lot of evil characters necessarily, right? Like, there's no Cartman really. So I like it. And a lot of them have ADHD and anxiety. I've seen people talk about this show saying that every single character is in some way a representation of different kind of neurodivergence in people. Like, they're all expressing different versions of that, which I love that as well. And it's great. Very, kind of uncomfortable honesty in a lot of that stuff. And I love that there's so many seasons. It's still going. There's 13. The season 13 is currently going on, right? 20 episodes per season. I think I'm in like season 5 or something like that. But another great aspect to a background show is a lot of episodes that you could kind of just burn through and not see a lot of repeats. So it's a show that I can see putting on multiple times and watching through multiple times. And kind of excited to get to the movie whenever that happens. I'm sure it'll be fun. But yeah, it's a great show. I love it. I love the positivity of it. I love the fun, the humor of it. Very low maintenance show where you don't have to pay attention, and that's why it's one of my new favorite background shows, and a great show that it's one of those things where people recommend it forever, and then you finally get around to watching it, and you see same thing that happened with in a lot of ways Parks and Rec, a show that I think I watched the first few episodes when it first came out. Was originally released, wasn't really into it, preferred The Office. It seemed like it was just trying to do The Office. And then years after it had left the networks and was no longer being broadcasted during the pandemic, finally got around to watching it during a very low point in my life and fell in love with that show and love how that show became its own thing and wasn't just another Office type of a show. So in many ways, Bob's Burgers is that show that I heard so many good things about for so long and finally got around to watching it and instantly fell in love with it. So if you haven't, check it out. But I would imagine if you've heard about it, you have. I don't know how many people are like me out there.
New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on YouTube and everywhere our podcasts are found. Binge the full week over at InspiredDisorder.com/plus. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at InspiredDisorder.com. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!
Today is the day where you wake up and you realize that everything that you've been dreaming about, everything that you've been wanting, every goal and wish and hope that you've ever had can become real. Dreams can come true. What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.